Hey guys, it's Hobo here. Today we are doing another review for The Walking Dead Season 10 Episode 21 called Diverged. The characters in this interview are Daryl, Carol, and we have the side piece of my boy Jerry. We're going to add some Jerry points. This episode is instantly better because it's got Jerry in it, okay? We can all agree with this. So the plot of this episode is quite simple. The main character is Carol, and the plot is she's making soup. That's the episode, and Jerry just pops in, shows some light. There's also a side thing with Daryl trying to fix his bike and trying to get back to Alexandria. That's kind of the side story. This episode is actually a carry-on to episode 18, where Daryl and Carol have a fight. This episode carries on, but now the main character is Carol, not Daryl, so you get the other side, basically. I don't know why I quite like that this episode is a carry-on, because so far we've had very episodic episodes. Now we've had this one. It's like a part 2, and I quite like it. Because of episode 18, it justifies its existence to have this episode at some point, so I quite like it. This episode's justified, I would say. This episode was paced well. It was way better than the pacing that we had in episode 20, which was basically non-existence. This episode moved on and had action springing up between it, so it felt like it was not dragging at all. Unlike the previous episode, which was a complete drag, this had very little drag in it, and I would say it's a fun time. Okay, so as we know so far, that every one of these 6 episodes and its shows are very character focused and are very deep dives to each character, and this episode is no different. This is a Carol one this time, with basically side characters like Daryl and my boy Jerry. If you don't like Carol, it's going to be terrible, but if you do like Carol, that's a win. Also Jerry, so a win for everybody, because everyone loves Jerry. Do I think that Carol was able to hold this episode? Yes, I do. She's like one of the main characters now, and she was able to hold this episode, unlike Princess was the last episode. Princess is a brand new character, she couldn't hold that episode, but Carol could do this one. So I say this is a successful episode, because it kept my attention, and it didn't kill me like the Princess one did. I do want to quickly mention the music. I did notice it quite a bit in this episode, and it does help with the pace, and it helps with the mood of the episode. I think the music for this episode is very good, and it helps the episode so much more and brings it up a bit. Okay, before we move on to the overall review, I do want to mention the acting. There's nothing to write home about, but Jerry, I just want to mention this and stress this. Jerry in the episode wins this episode, okay? Jerry. I'm going to sell this episode with one word. Jerry. So now let's move on to the overall review. And I would say the episode is very well paced and entertaining. It's not a needed episode, but it was better than episode 17 and 20 by a long shot. Those episodes are so bad. This is better than those 2 episodes. If I would give an overall word for this episode, I would say it's a good episode / okay. I'm just going to say good, and it is kind of justified, but it's not needed. That is my opinion. This is a good / okay episode. Now, what do you think? Please tell me. See you next time.